What surprised you the most about the pandemic? How crazy amounts of stress impacts people. I've heard of many people becoming socially anxious, depressed, and others gaining a new perspective on life. Somehow this whole experience helped me overcome a lot of my issues, seek help, and ultimately I feel like a much stronger person. This crap is still absolutely awful though. That in an apocalypse scenario, it won't be medicine or food that is raided and hoarded. It's toilet paper. People will starve, but they will have a clean butt. There's a post-apocalyptic video game RPG out there where toilet paper is the currency. Was released pre-pandemic. No matter how much cheering and clapping for people who are putting their lives on the line, it does not translate into helping them cope, paying them more, or any long-term benefits. It's done to help the people clapping feel better. I work in a major trauma hospital. When Delta came to my state, we were the first hospital to convert fully to a COVID hub. After months and months of max capacity beds, we finally flattened the curve. The hospital gave out pins to thank us. Nurses have been fighting for pay rises and better ratios for years, but instead of even entertaining that thought, we got a pin. For Westerners especially, the existential crisis that surfaced in people. It was really surprising seeing how untouchable some people felt they were and how straying from routine can really put some people in a weird headspace. How little I needed human contact, but also how much I missed my quarterly meetups with two particular friends. Seems weird to me that I would be happily content at home, but also crave a very specific type of contact. Beck, Mel, I miss you. How much it divided us. I always sort of thought that if we, as a species, ever faced some sort of external existential threat, like aliens coming to wipe us out or some horrible natural catastrophe, we'd band together to help each other. Turns out, nope. We'll try to make money off each other, use the situation for political gain, and refuse to take basic precautions to protect each other, basically just out of spite. We're so much shittier as a species than I ever imagined, and I never thought terribly highly of people to begin with. Agree, we are so much shittier. Truthfully, how much time I miss out with my loved ones. I mean cats. Traveling to work, working, and traveling back. I've been working from home for almost 2 years now, and life is so much better. I have peace and quiet. I work much more efficiently. My cats soothe me when I am stressed. Chores can be done on my 15-minute breaks and I have time to myself after I clock out. Life is so much better working from home. I've always felt that people would that devolve rather than rise to the occasion if the crap really hit the fan, because society has deteriorated into entitled, narcissistic sociopaths. But what surprised me the most was people, some close friends, that I thought to be intelligent and reasonable, absolutely refusing to believe in facts and science. I don't know if it's better or worse, probably better, but for me it was family, not friends. Luckily my friends have all turned out to be reasonable for the most part. Some relaxed dining but all vaxxed and relatively careful. Family on the other hand showed me why education isn't the most valued item in the family. How quickly nursing changed. We literally trained for years how to wear certain masks, N95 enough to be ingrained in everything we do. That all went out the window and it became a lot of different things like layering masks, brown paper bags to store your daily and even monthly masks. Again, we trained to always discard immediately after exiting the room. So it was so very uncomfortable and scary knowing how the mask is intended to work, how it is intended to be used. I remember we were heroes, then people became scared of us. People thought nurses were dirty COVID, so they were assaulting nurses. I was scared to go in public in scrubs. Anyway, I could write a novel here, but anyway, that's all changed my life forever. I work in a lab and the stress that COVID testing brought in. We had our normal testing and had to add COVID testing, with the same amount of staff to handle it. It was tough at first, but we eventually got more efficient machines to get it done faster. Not to mention that everyone wants their results yesterday. Understandably, but not that feasible. Honestly, the thing that has surprised me the most about the pandemic is how quickly it has spread and the lack of information that certain governments are providing to their citizens. I think it is really important for people to have accurate information in order to make informed decisions about their health and the health of their loved ones. How quickly people went from clamoring for a vaccine and then actively protesting against the vaccine once it was brought out. I was surprised at the amount of people who suddenly became virulent disease experts after graduating from Facebook University. Some of them even took the attention seeking too far and died as a result. How people can so easily make everything political and not once get together to unite towards a common goal. I mean, it's a worldwide pandemic and these people are still out there finding stuff to complain about. I'm now convinced if aliens invaded America, a third would try to fight them, another third will collaborate with them to hurt their political opponents, and the last third would be distracted enough to not notice it or take it seriously if they did. Independence Day was balls. Just how disappointed I'd be in other people, and the fact that the words avoid like the plague are now completely meaningless because people don't actually do it. I always thought all those apocalypse movies always blew the body counts out of proportion. Like 90% of the population died within the first year. Before, I was always doubting. Now, I can see it happening. Very quickly. The amount of if I can't see it happening to someone right in front of me, it doesn't happen ever, was staggering. How much of an introvert I really am. At the end of 2020, I remember thinking a lot about how I wish it never returned to normal. Of course, I'd like people to stop dying and losing their senses of smell, taste and hearing because of it, but the less people around, the more I feel like life on Earth is manageable. Same. I can feel my social skills getting worse without practice, but I've never felt more comfortable with myself in my life. The most surprising and most welcomed was how celebrity culture got put on pause for a few months. There wasn't a Final Four, arena concerts, yet another Marvel movie, or new Kardashian episodes. Who was dating who or caught eating a carb weren't the headlines for once. And when celebrities did post pics of them quarantining in their yacht, the public blasted them while waiting in line to get toilet paper. It felt like an even playing field for a second. To be fair, these things were always optional. Other than some Marvel movies, I never cared about any of this. We're going to be completely fricked in any dystopian scenario. This was pretty much the zombie apocalypse on easy mode. Anti-maskers and anti-vaxxers are the kind of people that would get bit but hide it and infect a whole settlement they force their way into, loudly proclaiming they're entitled to food and shelter over women and children. What I've been saying from the beginning is, this was a freaking test of a real problem and we failed. It's bad but it could be much worse and humans just plain suck. I knew that we as a society lacked general empathy, but I had no idea that it was this widespread and prevalent. It's actually terrifying that the general majority of people, Americans at least, do not give a crap about anyone but themselves, and are blatantly unwilling to make some minor sacrifices to help save the lives of their loved ones and those around them. I never expected this level of conspiracy theory lunacy. When the vaccine was first announced, I thought, great, this will all be over soon. Everyone will be happy. I was not expecting people to refuse to take it, or to have protests about it, etc. Also, I was surprised at the huge number of people who are happy to let other people die rather than have their social life impacted by the pandemic. How much people I have lost respect for. It seems everyone was living behind a mask, excuse the pun, but now it's come off. Not just the vax-unvaxxed but everything from companies using it as an excuse to not have to directly interact with the customer anymore, to just how uneducated people are. It also surprises me how the human race even survived this long, if this is the best we have to show for it. How much of an introvert I am, and I don't think about the whole mask mandate stuff. I wear my mask and I don't even complain about it. I got used to it. Too many people are thinking into it too hard. Like I don't care. As an introvert, the pandemic didn't affect me that much. But watching all the politics balls and how dumb people get, I admit I have zero sympathy for them when they catch COVID or worse. I thought the global pandemic would bring people together, a common enemy, yet it did the opposite. I've lost certain friends and family in a way. How ingrained in routine Homo sapiens are, and how one little change can send some over the edge. I've seen autistic people not be able to cope well with changes in routine, but holy mother of God. Just how weak we are. I always thought that we are resilient and that humans bicker and fight but a common purpose unites us. It turns out this isn't true at all and we can't even handle moderate inconveniences, let alone true hardship. If we had a world war or a world-ending disaster, we're all freaking screwed. How much more attractive someone can look with half their face covered, and the letdown when they show their full face. The number of people who think free thinking just means doing the opposite of the mainstream, regardless of the logic or evidence. How anti-vax the US has gotten. Never would have thought it, but I have one in my immediate family. He became anti-vax over quarantine. As far as America goes, how it pushed us to have conversations we are not ready to have as a country, and even worse, legislate based on those conversations. There's a lot of crap that we've swept under the rug that people really need collective relief from, but they aren't getting because we can't discuss it civilly while we bicker about how to end the pandemic. We're teetering on the edge in the family car, and instead of working together to get out of the dangerous situation, we're arguing about the radio station. For me, it was the views of the right and left. Prior to all of this, I would have guessed that conservatives would be supportive of government compliance, enforcement and mandatory vaccines passports, and in contrast the left would be against this, instead supporting the choice of the individual, resistance to increasing limitations of freedom and anti-establishment protests. Instead it's gone the other way, especially here in the UK. Think Daily Mail, anti-vax, anti-lockdown, anti-mask versus the Guardian enforcement, national safety. Of course this isn't a blanket statement and individuals will differ, however as a general view this is what it looks like, and it surprises me a lot. How even when we are given scientific and proven facts about what steps we can take to help solve the problem for all of us, there are still people who resist it. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.